The stars shone cold and distant in the black emptiness of space. Far from Earth, in a part of the galaxy humans had never reached, a massive spaceship floated among countless others. Inside this ship, the leaders of the Vexari Dominion gathered to plan their next conquest. Admiral Kang walked slowly into the large dark room where the High Command waited. His footsteps echoed on the metal floor. The other Vexari commanders turned their heads to watch him. With their hard outer shells and clicking mandibles, they looked something like giant insects, though they stood upright on two legs. Kang's thin body moved gracefully to the center of the room. He pressed a button on his wrist device, and suddenly, the air filled with light. A beautiful blue-green planet appeared floating in the middle of the room. "My fellow commanders," Kang said, his voice deep and sure, "I present to you our next target." His mandibles clicked together excitedly as he pointed to the hologram. Earth. The room stayed silent as the other commanders studied the planet. Its oceans shimmered blue in the light. White clouds swirled across its surface. Green and brown landmasses dotted the waters. Commander Yuna stepped forward. As Kang's second-in-command, she had helped prepare this presentation. Her shell was lighter in color than Kang's dark blue, almost a silvery gray. "Our scans show Earth has many valuable resources," she said. "Metals, minerals, water, and a breathable atmosphere. The native species calls themselves humans." She pressed another button, and the image changed to show pictures of human cities, vehicles, and people. "They have basic technology," Yuna continued. "They have visited their moon and sent simple machines to nearby planets, but they have no real space fleet, no energy shields, and no weapons that could harm our ships." Admiral Kang nodded. "According to our classification system, they qualify as a Type 2 pre-interstellar species. They have discovered space travel, but have not yet mastered it." An older commander raised his hand. "Do they pose any threat at all?" Kang laughed, a strange chattering sound. "No more than the Zolari did, or the Nithians before them. They will fall just as easily." The head of the High Council, Leader Jin, leaned forward in his seat. His shell was decorated with golden symbols of rank. "How many ships will you need?" "For this conquest, Admiral," Jin asked. "For the initial scouting, just 3. Then we will send the diplomatic fleet to offer them the chance to surrender. If they resist, which rarely happens, we will need the standard invasion force of 200 warships." Leader Jin nodded slowly. "Very well, the Council approves this conquest. Earth will become part of the Vexari Dominion. Begin preparations immediately." The meeting ended quickly after that. To the Vexari, Earth was just another world to add to their growing empire. They had conquered 17 planets in the last 50 Earth years. Humans would be no different from any other species they had encountered. 3 days later, 3 Vexari scout ships left their home system. They traveled through space using technology humans had only dreamed about. Their engines bent space itself, allowing them to cover vast distances quickly. After what would be about 2 Earth weeks, the scouts reached the edge of the solar system. They activated their cloaking devices, becoming invisible to normal sensors. "Begin scanning the planet," ordered Captain Tay of the lead scout ship. "I want to know everything about their defenses before we report back to Admiral Kang." The 3 ships spread out. One headed toward Jupiter to use its gravity to slingshot closer to Earth. Another positioned itself near Saturn's rings, using the ice particles to help hide its presence. The third, Captain Tay's ship, moved slowly toward Mars. None of them noticed a small, seemingly dead satellite floating near Pluto. It looked like space junk, perhaps an old probe that had stopped working years ago. But inside, advanced sensors detected the slight energy emissions from the cloaked Vexari ships. The satellite silently came to life. It sent a coded signal racing toward Earth, moving at speeds the Vexari would have thought impossible for human technology. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a secret base built into the seafloor, alarms began to sound. Men and women in military uniforms rushed to monitoring stations. Screens lit up showing the solar system, and 3 blinking red dots moving through it. General Song stood calmly in the center of the chaos. He was an older man, with gray hair cut short and a face marked by years of difficult decisions. He had spent his entire career preparing for this moment. "How many?" he asked simply. 3 ships, sir, a young officer replied. They're using some kind of cloaking technology, but our deep space sensors detected them anyway. General Song nodded. He walked to a secure phone on the wall, painted bright red. This phone connected directly to the leaders of Earth's Unified Defense Command. It's happening, he said when someone answered. Operation Watchful Eye has detected visitors. They're here. He put down the phone and looked at the main screen showing the approaching ships. And they have no idea what they're getting into, he whispered to himself. The research ship Horizon floated quietly in space near Titan, the largest moon of Saturn. The ship looked small against the giant orange moon behind it. Inside, 20 human scientists and crew members went about their work. They were studying Titan's thick atmosphere and lakes of liquid methane. Captain He sat in his command chair on the bridge, reading reports on a tablet. He was a calm man with steady hands and keen eyes. This was his 5th mission to the outer planets, and nothing much surprised him anymore. Until today. Captain, called Jun, the sensor officer. I'm picking up something strange near the rings. His voice shook slightly. Captain He put down his tablet and walked to Jun's station. Show me. Jun pointed to his screen. 3 objects about the size of our ship. They're hiding in the rings, but they're giving off energy readings unlike anything I've ever seen. Natural phenomena, asked He, though he already suspected the answer. No, sir. The movements are too precise. They're ships. Jun looked up at his captain. And they're not ours. Captain He stood very still for a moment. Every space explorer dreamed of this moment, first contact with alien life. But now that it was happening, he felt only a cold certainty that everything was about to change. 1. Everyone up, he ordered. I need all hands at stations. He walked to his communication console and pressed his hand against the screen. It scanned his fingerprints before opening a secure channel to Earth Command. Command, this is Captain He of the Horizon, he said clearly. We have confirmed contact with non-terrestrial vessels, 3 of them observing us from Saturn's rings. Thousands of miles away, in the underwater base, General Song received the message. He immediately ordered all Earth defense systems to stand ready but not to act yet. Let's see what they do first, he told his officers. On one of the Vexari scout ships, Commander Yuna was upset. Their hiding place in Saturn's rings had been perfect. How had the primitive human ship detected them? Perhaps these creatures were more advanced than they had thought. They've spotted us, she told her crew. We must follow first contact protocols. The lead Vexari ship moved out from the rings, dropping its cloaking shield. It approached the horizon slowly, with its weapons, powered down but ready. The ship was sleek and dark, with strange angles that seemed to bend the light around it. Open a communication channel, Yuna ordered. On the horizon, alarms sounded as the alien ship appeared on their screens. They're hailing us, Jun said with wonder in his voice. Put it through, Captain He ordered. He straightened his uniform and took a deep breath. The main screen flickered, and then filled with the image of Commander Yuna. The humans saw an alien being with a hard outer shell, large compound eyes and moving mandibles. She stood upright, almost human-like, but there was nothing human about her face. Greetings, humans, Yuna said, her voice translated by her ship's computers. We represent the Vexari Dominion. Your world has been noticed by our empire. Captain. He felt a chill at her words. Your world has been noticed. Not discovered or found, but noticed, like a predator notices prey. But he kept his face calm and friendly. General Song had trained him for this very scenario. Show respect, appear harmless, gather information. We welcome peaceful contact with galactic neighbors, he replied with a small bow. This is a historic moment for humanity. While he spoke, his second-in-command quietly activated a hidden system built into the Horizon's computers. It began sending encrypted data back to Earth. Detailed scans of the Vexari ship, analysis of their technology, and recordings of Commander Yuna. We are pleased by your welcome, Yuna said. The Vexari Dominion wishes to establish relations with your species. We will send a diplomatic fleet to Earth soon to formalize our friendship. Captain He nodded politely. We look forward to it. May I ask how you found us? We had no idea other intelligent life existed so close to our solar system. Yuna made a sound that might have been a laugh. The Dominion is vast. We have been watching many worlds, including yours. Your technology has only recently become advanced enough to be of interest to us. We have much to learn from you then, he said humbly. After the communication ended, Commander Yuna turned to her officers. What simple creatures, she said. So easily impressed, so eager to please. Did you see how they bowed? Her science officer nodded. Their ship is primitive too. Their weapons could not even scratch our shields. Yuna felt pleased. This integration will proceed smoothly. Prepare. A report for Admiral Kang. Tell him the humans will welcome our diplomatic fleet with open arms. Back on the horizon, Captain He called his crew together. Listen carefully, he said. What I'm about to tell you is classified. That was no friendly greeting. When she said diplomatic fleet, she meant invasion force. The Vexari Dominion doesn't. Make friends, they conquer. The crew looked shocked. How do you know this, Captain? Asked a young scientist. Because Earth has been preparing for this day for decades, he replied. We've known about the Vexari for years. They've conquered 17 other worlds before turning their eyes to Earth. But our ship is just a research vessel, Jun said. We have no weapons. Captain He smiled grimly. That's what they think. That's what everyone thinks. And that's exactly why we'll win this war before it even starts. He touched a hidden panel on the wall, revealing a sophisticated communications system. The data we just sent to Earth will help our defense forces prepare for the Vexari fleet, he explained. They think we're primitive, helpless. They have no idea what's waiting for them. In space, the 3 Vexari ships turned and disappeared, heading back to their fleet to report their successful first contact with the docile humans. They couldn't have been more wrong. The 200 ships of the Vexari fleet moved toward Earth, like a swarm of giant metal insects. Their dark hulls reflected the sunlight as they passed the moon. At the center of this fleet was the largest ship of all, the flagship commanded by Admiral Kang himself. Kang stood tall on the bridge, his hard exoskeleton gleaming under the bright lights. Around him, Vexari officers worked at their stations, checking weapons and shields. The Admiral felt nothing but pride as he looked at the blue planet growing larger on the main screen. Soon, Earth would be just another conquest for the mighty Dominion. We are within broadcast range, Admiral, reported a communications officer. Excellent. Kang's mandibles clicked together in satisfaction. Begin the integration broadcast. Integration was the word the Vexari always used when they really meant surrender. It sounded nicer, but the meaning was clear. Join us or die. The message went out, transmitted on all Earth frequencies. Screens in homes, offices, and public spaces around the world suddenly showed Admiral Kang's alien face. People of Earth, he announced, his voice translated into every human language. You are honored to receive the attention of the Vexari Dominion. Your planet has been selected to join our glorious empire. Prepare for integration. Your resources, technology, and people now belong to us. Resistance is unnecessary and would only lead to suffering. Lower your defenses and accept our rule. When the message ended, the flagship's bridge fell silent. The Vexari waited for the humans' frightened response, for the inevitable surrender. This was how it always went. In 17 previous conquests, only 3 species had tried to fight back. None had lasted more than a day. Kang turned to Commander Yuna, who had joined him for this historic moment. Now we wait for them to beg for mercy, he said confidently. 30 seconds passed. No response came from Earth. Strange, Yuna said. Perhaps they don't understand how to reply. Then something unexpected happened. The Vexari sensors began to detect energy readings all around Earth's orbit, hundreds of them, appearing suddenly where nothing had registered before. Admiral, called out the sensor officer, his voice rising in alarm, something is happening. On the main screen they watched as what had appeared to be ordinary satellites, space junk, and small asteroids began to change. Metal panels slid, fell aside revealing weapon ports. Solar panels folded away, uncovering missile launchers. What had seemed like space debris transformed into fully armed battle stations. Impossible, whispered Kang. Their technology is primitive. They can't have orbital weapons platforms. Yet the evidence was right before his eyes. In a matter of seconds, Earth had revealed a defense system far beyond what any Type 2 species should possess. The communications officer jumped as his console lit up. Admiral, we're receiving a response from Earth. On the screen appeared the face of an older human male with short grey hair and stern eyes. He wore a uniform decorated with symbols of rank. "This is General Song of Earth's Unified Defense Command," he said calmly. "The people of Earth have a different proposal. You will leave our solar system immediately or you will be destroyed." Admiral Kang laughed, though with less confidence than before. "You dare threaten the Vexari Dominion? Your weapons cannot harm our ships. Our shields are impenetrable to your technology." General Song simply smiled. "We'll see about that." The screen went dark. For a moment, there was silence on the bridge. Then, chaos erupted. "Multiple weapons locking onto us from all directions," shouted the sensor officer. "Shields at maximum," ordered Kang. But it was too late. The orbital platforms fired in perfect unison. Beams of energy unlike anything the Vexari had seen from a pre-interstellar species cut through space toward their fleet. The first shots hit the outer ships. The Vexari expected their advanced shields to easily absorb the attack. Instead, the beams passed through the shields as if they weren't there, cutting deep into the ship's hulls. "How is this possible?" Kang demanded as the first explosion lit up space. "Their weapons shouldn't be able to penetrate our shields." More shots fired. More Vexari ships exploded or drifted, crippled. The flagship rocked as it took hits to its engines. 17 ships destroyed already," reported a frantic officer. 43 severely damaged. Kang could not believe what he was seeing. This was supposed to be an easy conquest, not a battle, and certainly not a defeat. "Return fire," he ordered. "Target their orbital platforms." The Vexari ships that could still fight launched their weapons at Earth's defenses. But something strange happened. Many of the shots curved away at the last moment, missing their targets. Others seemed to pass right through the human weapons platforms without causing damage. "They have gravitational deflection technology, Commander," Yuna said in disbelief. "And phase shifting. Those are advanced Meridian technologies." "That's impossible," Kang insisted. "The Meridians never came to this sector. How could humans have their technology?" Commander Yuna worked quickly at her console, searching through the information they had gathered about Earth. "Sir," she said, her voice shaking, "I'm finding references in their historical records. A spacecraft crashed in a place called Roswell in 1947. It wasn't human." "A Meridian scout ship, here." Kang couldn't process this information. "Yes, sir, and based on these records, the humans recovered it. They've been studying and reverse engineering the technology for over 80 Earth years." Another explosion. "Rocked the flagship, the lights flickered. Shields failing," called out an officer. "We've lost engines 2 and 3. Around them, the once mighty Vexari fleet was being torn apart. Ships exploded or drifted helplessly in space. A few turned, trying to escape. "This cannot be happening," Kang said, gripping his command chair as another blast shook the ship. "We are the Vexari Dominion. We do not lose." But they were losing. In just minutes, nearly half their fleet had been destroyed or disabled. On Earth, General Song watched the battle from his underground command center. Screens showed the Vexari ships being systematically dismantled by Earth's defenses. "Send the second message," he ordered. "It's time they learned who they're really dealing with." The Vexari had come expecting an easy victory over primitive humans. Instead, they had stumbled into a carefully laid trap, sprung by a species that had been preparing for this day for decades, and Earth was just getting started. The remains of the once proud Vexari fleet drifted in Earth orbit. Fires burned inside damaged ships, escape pods launched from the worst-hit vessels. Admiral Kang stared at the screens showing his defeated forces, unable to believe what had happened. "We've lost 63 ships completely," reported a shaken officer. "Another 89 are too damaged to fight." Kang's mandibles clicked in distress. Less than half his fleet remained battle-ready. No species had ever inflicted such damage on the Dominion before. "Prepare to withdraw," he ordered. "We will return with a larger force." But before the Vexari could turn their ships around, every screen and communication device in their fleet suddenly activated. The same thing happened on Vexari worlds across the galaxy, and on ships and planets of other species too. Someone had taken control of all known communication channels. A human woman appeared on the screens. She wore a dark blue uniform with gold markings on the shoulders. Her face was stern but calm. Her short grey hair framed a face that showed both wisdom and strength. "I am Admiral Du of Earth's United Space Command," she said. Her voice was quiet but carried great power. "This is the Terran ultimatum." On the Vexari flagship, Admiral Kang leaned forward. "What is this?" Admiral Do continued. "The Vexari Dominion has attacked Earth, believing us to be an easy target. Your mistake was not in attacking us, but in not knowing who we really are." She looked directly into the camera, her eyes seeming to stare right at those watching. "We have studied your empire for decades. We know your shield harmonics. We know your weapon systems. We know the locations of 27 of your core worlds." She paused, letting the words sink in. In his command chair, Kang felt cold fear for the first time in his long life. How could the humans know about the core worlds? Many were hidden, their locations secret even from the species the Vexari had. "Conquered," Admiral Du continued. "As I speak, human stealth vessels are positioned near every major Vexari population center. Each carries weapons that could destroy your cities. We have also activated Protocol Thunderbolt." She pressed a button, and the screen showed small self-contained machines spreading through space. These are self-replicating defense systems. They are now spreading throughout nearby star systems. They can detect Vexari ships and destroy them instantly. On worlds across the galaxy, leaders of other species watched with growing interest. The Vexari had long been the bullies of this sector of space. Now someone was standing up to them. Admiral Do's message continued with a detailed list of Vexari tactical weaknesses. She described their shield generator design flaws. She named the exact frequencies their weapons used. She even mentioned secret military bases the Dominion had hidden on moons and asteroids. In the Vexari High Command Center, Leader Jin watched with growing horror. "How do they know all this?" he demanded of his advisors. "This is impossible." One brave advisor spoke up. "The humans must have been watching us for years. They let us think they were primitive while studying our every move." On Earth, in a deep, underground command center, General Song stood behind Admiral Do as she delivered the message. Around them, officers monitored the Vexari fleet's responses. Other screens showed the human stealth ships in position near Vexari worlds. "Now for the final part," Song said quietly. Admiral Du nodded and continued her broadcast. "We desire peace," she said. "We have always desired peace, but we are prepared for war on a scale you cannot comprehend. Humanity will not be conquered." Her voice grew stronger. "This warning extends to all expansionist powers who set their sights on Earth or our allies. Leave us in peace, and we will do the same for you. Attack us and face extinction." The screen changed again, showing detailed technical drawings of a device. Even to non-scientists, its purpose was clear. The diagram showed a star, then the device activating, then the star exploding in a massive nova. "This is our last resort. Weapon," Admiral Du explained. "It can destabilize a star, causing it to nova prematurely. We have never used it. We hope we never will. But make no mistake, we have this technology, and we will use it if forced to do so." The message ended. Across the galaxy, stunned silence followed. On the Vexari flagship, Commander Yuna turned to Admiral Kang. "Sir, is such a weapon even possible?" Kang could barely speak. "The Meridians were researching such technology before they disappeared. If the humans truly have their knowledge—" He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. In the High Command Center, Leader Jin had already made his decision. "Order all ships to withdraw from Earth space immediately," he commanded. "Send the humans a message. Tell them we accept their terms." For the first time in their long history of conquest, the Vexari Dominion was retreating. Back on Earth, Admiral E. Du turned away from the camera. "Do you think they believed it?" she asked General Song. He nodded. "They believed it, and so did everyone else watching." "Good," she said, "because most of it was true." She looked at a screen showing the Vexari, ships turning away from Earth, fleeing back toward their homeworlds. "Except for the Starkiller," Song added. "That was a nice touch." Admiral Du smiled slightly. "Sometimes the best defense is making your enemies think you're more dangerous than you really are." General Song nodded. "And sometimes you need to—" Remind the bullies of the galaxy that they picked the wrong planet to mess with. The message from Earth traveled across the stars faster than anyone expected. It jumped from communication system to communication system, spreading like a wildfire through the galaxy. Species that had never heard of humans before suddenly knew their name and feared their power. On the Vexari homeworld, Leader Jin called an emergency meeting of his advisors. The grand hall with its high ceilings and ancient stone pillars had never felt so tense. "We must contain this," Jin shouted, pounding his fist on the table. "If other worlds see how these humans defeated us, everything we've built could fall apart." But it was too late. The recording had already reached the Galactic Council, the gathering of representatives from all major spacefaring civilizations. For centuries, the Council had been controlled by large empires like the Vexari. Smaller worlds had seats, but rarely spoke up, fearing punishment from the powerful. Now the Council called its first emergency session in 50 years. The great meeting chamber on the neutral planet Xylon filled with representatives from 100 different species. Some looked almost human, others were as different from humans as fish are from trees. But they all came with one question. Who were these Earthlings who had stood up to the mighty Vexari? Diplomat Su represented the Vexari Dominion. He stood tall at the speaker's platform, his hard shell polished to a high shine for this important meeting. "These humans are dangerous," he told the Council. "They cannot be allowed to possess star-killing technology. Such power in the hands of a young emotional species threatens us all." His words echoed through the chamber. For a moment there was silence. Then the doors at the far end opened, and a human walked in. Ambassador Tay moved with calm confidence as she approached the center of the room. This was humanity's first appearance before the Galactic Council. All eyes, tentacles, and sensing organs watched her. "Respected members of the Council," she began, "I am Ambassador Tay of Earth. We did not ask to join your galactic community. This way. The Vexari forced our hand when they came to conquer our world." She turned to face Diplomat Su directly. "And yet," she continued, "we do possess this technology, and we are willing to share our defensive capabilities with any species threatened by empires like yours." The chamber exploded with noise. Representatives jumped to their feet, shouting questions or demands. Some called for Earth to be punished. Others wanted to form alliances immediately. The council leader, an ancient being named Jun from a species known for their wisdom, called for order. When the room quieted, he spoke directly to Ambassador Tay. "Why would humans share such powerful technology? What do you want in return?" Tay smiled. "We want only what every species deserves, the right to exist without fear of conquest. We propose a new principle for this council, the guaranteed sovereignty of all sentient species." A representative from a small world called Namari stood up. His people had suffered under Vexari rule for generations. "Namari supports Earth's proposal," he said, his voice shaking with emotion. "Too long have we lived in fear of the larger empires. If Earth will help protect us, we offer our friendship in return." One by one, representatives from smaller worlds stood up. Some admitted they had been hiding their true technological capabilities for fear of drawing attention from the conquering empires. Now they were ready to reveal themselves and join with Earth. Within days, a new alliance had formed. Within weeks, the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted. The Council passed new laws protecting the rights of all worlds to govern themselves. The age of conquest was ending. The Vexari and other expansionist empires found themselves surrounded by worlds they had once bullied, but which now had powerful defenses provided by Earth. They had no choice but to accept the new reality. 10 years passed. The galaxy changed more in that decade than it had in the previous 1,000 years. Trade replaced conquest. Knowledge was shared instead of hoarded. Old enemies became cautious partners. On a garden terrace overlooking the capital city of the Vexari homeworld, two figures met in private. One was Vexari peace delegate Su, now the leader of his people's new diplomatic corps. The other was the recently retired Admiral Du from Earth. They sat together watching the twin suns set, turning the sky purple and gold. "After all these years," Su said, "there is still one thing I do not understand. May I ask you something honestly?" Now that we are no longer enemies? Du nodded. Of course. The Starkiller weapon, Sue said. Our scientists have studied the schematics you broadcast for years. They say it should work, but they cannot make it function. Did you ever actually build one? Admiral Du looked out at the sunset. Then she turned to Sue with a small smile. No, she said simply. We never actually had it. The schematics were theoretical, impossible to build with current technology. Sue's mandibles clicked in shock. You mean it was all a bluff? Our greatest weapon was understanding your fear and using it against you, Doe explained. We knew the Vexari had conquered many worlds. We knew you would believe we would do anything to avoid the same fate. You bluffed the entire galaxy. Sue could hardly believe it. We did, Doe nodded. And in doing so, we changed it for the better. Look around you. She gestured to the peaceful city below. Is the Vexari Dominion not more prosperous now through trade than it ever was through conquest? Sue had to admit she was right. His people had found a better way forward, thanks to the humans who had outthought rather than outfought them. Perhaps, he said, that is why your species was worth saving after all.